was definitely just practicing my evil cackle. Don't really feel like publishing that, but this is my real 8 weeks on T video, since the one earlier was just like me rambling about fucking self-injecting. Anyway, because I'm on a lower dose than most people, I guess I've had, either because I care more or just because whatever, God, I can't fucking talk. So much caffeine, like, falling out of my system right now. Anyway, I guess, I don't know, I guess probably because I have less physical changes than other people do, because of my low dose, I think, or maybe just because I'm paying more attention to it. I've noticed a lot more, like, psychological changes, attitude changes, or maybe just that I don't see people talking about them much. Anyway, I made a list of them, but I can't remember where I put it, which brings me to my first change, is I'm a lot more disorganized than I used to be. Like, I used to make lists and categories and this thing and that thing and the other thing and have places for all kinds of stuff, and none of it really doesn't fucking matter anymore. If my notebook's on my desk or if my notebook's downstairs, it doesn't make a difference. If I want it, I'm gonna go find it and pick it up. My, like, obsessive-compulsive tendencies have just taken a fucking nosedive. I noticed that, in a more broad sense of terms, I tend to live more in the present, and less in the past and in the future. I'm not so concerned about where I'm going or how I'm gonna get there. I take a lot more of my focus is on meeting my needs at the present time. Like, if I'm hungry, I'm not gonna think, oh, well, da-da-da-da-da, and what did I buy, and what should I be making, and what have I had lately, and how am I gonna get a variety into my diet, and this and that and the other thing. I'm gonna think, oh, I'm hungry, I should go eat something. And then I get up and I go and eat it, and then I'm not hungry anymore. It's on the next thing, instead of this big, long train wreck of a thought process that leads up to going into the kitchen and eating something, and then moving on to the next thing. Everything's just simpler. Like, the next thing is and this hasn't been wearing off at all, so I'm gonna actually attribute this to tea. I'm more motivated. Like, before, I would get restless, and when I was restless, I get apathetic. Oh, well, I never do anything, etc. And now it's like, if I'm restless, I just get up and fucking do something. Instead of going, oh, well, it's raining, I can't put a window on the chicken coop. I go find something else to do. I'll go wash some dishes, or I'll go out in the rain and put the window on the chicken coop anyway. I don't spend as much time thinking about stuff, and I spend a lot more time doing stuff. The third thing I noticed is thinking. When I'm thinking, my thought processes are very active and involved sort of things. And this hasn't really changed, except that sometimes someone will be like, hey, what are you thinking about? You look thoughtful. And I'll be like, nothing. Because I really wasn't thinking about anything. Like, in conversation, there's a big difference between when a guy says nothing and a woman says nothing. When a woman says nothing, it usually means they don't want to talk about it, or they want you to try and figure it out, or they're mad, or something, you know. I was like that as a female, and now more as a male, it's nothing. Like, I literally wasn't thinking about anything. I was just staring into space, or whatever. I wasn't thinking about anything. The answer is really nothing. There was nothing in my mind. I don't even know how that works. Like, I couldn't even conceive of the idea of not having some kind of thought process going on. And now it happens all the time. I feel like staring. What was I just thinking about? Oh, I wasn't thinking about anything. Okay, then I go do something. Sex and food. I wouldn't say that I'm, like, sex obsessed, or that my libido is out of control. I would just say that when I don't have something else to focus on, that sex or food seems to be the default that my brain goes back to. Like, I'm doing something and I'm thinking about it and I get it done, I don't have anything else to go on to, and so the thing that fills in the blank between focusing on stuff and thinking about nothing is sex. Like, that's the default brain setting. And it's part of the reason why I didn't choose to raise my dose. I don't expect that how much I'm taking is really going to have that big of an effect on how fast or slow changes come. It's that if having higher T levels tends to make you more sexually active, I don't want to be any more sexually active. My girlfriend already can't keep up with me, you know? It's distracting. I like being able to think about this other than sex and food. So, you know, God forbid that having a higher T level would make that harder, because it's already kind of tough to think about shit other than sex and food. Anyway, I'm trying to think of what else was on the list that I forgot where I put. Thinking more, more confident? No, I wouldn't say more confident, less inhibited. Like, before, someone would say something, and I would think of a witty comeback, and then I would spend several moments pondering the implications and the effect of saying that witty comment, and then the opportunity would pass. Whereas now, somebody says something, and my response is just like, bleh. They just kind of tumble out of my mouth without me pausing to consider what I'm saying. It's like my inhibition has, like, shrank way down. I'm a lot less inhibited than I used to be, which is mostly a good thing, but partially also a bad thing. I need to, as one of my friends put it, I need to regrow my self-restraint switch, because, yeah, it kind of sucks lately. Another thing I noticed, and I think I may have mentioned this before, is I do tend to get angry a little bit more easily. Like, things that would frustrate me before frustrate me now, but that it's a lot harder to really piss me off. Like, I'm more likely to be like, hey, will you shut the hell up if someone is saying something I don't want to hear, whereas before I would just kind of shut up and bear with it. But as opposed to before, and maybe because of, like, being more likely to act out, it's a lot harder for people to really piss me off. Like, if here's my scale of anger, it used to be from normal to mad to pissed off, and now it's from normal to mad, and this huge gap between mad and pissed off. Like, it's really hard to piss me off now. Definitely say that I'm more laid back than I used to be. I also notice that I don't stay angry about things. Like, I get pissed. I'm pissed. I either do something about it, or I get over it, and that's it. Like, even when I go back and try to remember how I was pissed off or why it irritated me so bad, I just can't really bring myself to be angry about it. I was already pissed about that before. What's the next thing coming? You know, it's just... it's interesting. Not unwelcome in the slightest. I was a very vindictive person before. It was a personality trait I really didn't much care for. More active, less inhibited, more confident, sort of. Thinking about sex. I'm trying to remember what else was on that list. I'm sure there were a couple of other things. Just some interesting things that I've noticed, you know. I don't know if... it can't be just me. At least I'm pretty sure it's not just me, but aside from, you know, like, dick growth, or I guess clitoral growth if you want to be particular, or getting slightly more hair on my back, or getting the faint tracings of sideburns. God, I wish they would get bigger already. Or, my head size getting bigger, or my foot size getting bigger. You know, it's a lot of emotional and cognitive changes, which are all things I welcome. Like, sweet shit, because this is exactly what I wanted. So, that's me so far, 8 weeks on T.